What we have coming up next is something that's new coming from Tettles. Tettles has new information about something that's coming up with the Dinars. So like you may have already heard, there's been an uprising in the community about Dinars and what they were first and then revised to, and now there is another revision. Let's give this a listen and let's see what he has to say real quick.
Alrighty, so Mythic Plus Dungeon Trinkets added to the Dinar vendor and MythTrack needing Mythic 12s. Is a post that was made over on Wowhead, and we have a blue post where Blizzard is announcing that Mythic Plus Dungeon Trinkets will be available on the Dinar vendor, and MythTrack Trinkets need Mythic Plus 12s to be able to obtain them. So Blizzard created a blue post with a lot of the backlash coming with the current Dinar system. Let me over a little bit, that way you guys can see. We're going to kind of talk about like what's actually changing with the Dinar system, what Blizzard's walking back a little bit, and is this good or bad realistically. So Blizzard basically goes out on the state whenever the Turbo Boost event goes live on May 13th. It will include some additional opportunities for players who prefer Mythic Plus dungeons. The weekly quests that provides puzzling cartel chips will now offer players a choice between killing 4 raid bosses in the Liberation of Undermine or completing 4 Mythic Plus dungeons. Additionally, the vendor will now offer a selection of trinkets from Season 2 dungeons in addition to the previously planned raid items. Cool. Purchasing a Hero Track dungeon trinket or Hero Track raid gear will have no requirements other than currency cost. This means that regardless of how you obtain your puzzling cartel chip, you can exchange them for Hero Track raid gear or Hero Track dungeon trinkets. The MythTrack dungeon trinkets will also require both the currency
and that is a huge change. So he's talking really fast, but what that means is that now Blizzard has learned from the community that we who do not raid or do not need anything from raid, such as myself, would like to be able to get something off of the vendor that is pertaining to Mythic Plus. So for me, that means essentially that I have everything that I need out of raid. All right. So this is my gear setup. All right. Now I don't know that it'll give you all of this. Right now the focus is on trinkets. So for instance, I'm sitting at a 665 Signet of Priory. All right. So if I do the quest, we're supposed to be able to get 3 dinars the first week and 1 dinar every week after that. That will give you 3 pieces that you need. Now, if you're a sweat like me, which I'm not really a sweat, I have a full-time job, and I try to really play the game with you guys, unless I'm pushing. So this would be the first thing that I take. Not only that, but we are also getting turbocharged gear. What does that mean? That means, for instance, all your heroic gear is going to be going up to like 671. All your mythic gear will be going up to 681, I believe is how that works. And that should be coming in 11.1.7, or is that coming May 13th? I'll do more research and I will get back to you on that. So that means basically we're going to be all 3K players. All right. We are all going to be 3K players. It's going up to 684. All right. Thank you for the clarification on that. So, and then your crafted gear, and this is where the 681 came from. Your crafted gear, you will have to get an additional piece of loot or something, whatever the fuck they call it. And then this, for instance, my 675 crafted weapon, I will be able to take up to 681. The crafted region is 30 crest. Okay. So there's more grinding ahead. Not only that, but just to let you all know, just to update you, if you haven't watched all the videos, they are unleashing us. Release the hounds. So then they're taking off all the caps. So that means you will no longer be capped on Valorstone's crest of any kind. All right. So you get to do all this, and then your alts will be able to get Valorstones, not crests so far as I believe, but Valorstones will be able to be warbound. So keep that in mind. So it really sounds like it's going to be a great time coming up for season 2. And then we have horrific visions. So one of the things that I believe this is built on is because of this Cersei circlet right here. If I can highlight it correctly, this is a ring that you got out of the last season, and if you sim yourself, even with a 678 ring, is still the best in slot. Which at the beginning, if you guys don't remember, they wanted this to last till the very end of the season, which for the most part it is, you know, but now that they're going to raise it to 684, probably won't be there. I just looked it up. They are making it for console. They just can still use the mouse and keyboard. There are already games on console that support mouse and keyboard. Yeah, there are. Final Fantasy 14 is a true testament to that, because, you know, they can play Final Fantasy 14, which is very much like the PC version, both on console and on PC. So I believe that they're doing this to get rid of this ring. So just to let you know. Just to let you know. Oh no, what'd I do?
And having beaten the timer in all Season 2 Mythic Plus dungeons at plus 12 or higher, having unlocked the Resilient Keystone system.
Oh, this part here.
And of course,
So what he's saying is that for you to be able to get or have the ability to get the option to have your mythic or to get the Mythic Plus gear off of vendor, you have to do it at a plus 12 or higher. Which, you know, good luck. Good luck. I mean, it's not a joke, but I mean, they are, as you guys are gearing up, this is becoming less of an issue.
Of course, the Myth Track raid gear will require both the currency and a victory over the item's associated boss on Mythic difficulty in the Liberation of Undermine. Our goal here is to ensure players who join Mythic Plus dungeons have a way to use this new event to obtain items they may have been chasing for weeks. I'm going to be honest, this is probably the best concession that they could have made, given.
Everybody thought that they would be able to make something different. So one of the things that everybody, because one of the things that I've noticed, if you have been or have not been paying attention to the response from World of Warcraft, they're really trying to save their game. They're really trying to listen to the community. They're really trying to make sure that we are involved. And, you know, their first hot take might be something just to see what we all react to. So when you saw the way that the Dinars came out, there was a huge uproar. I mean, go look on YouTube and type Dinars, and you will see video after video of people just rioting with their fucking pitchforks and their torches ready to lynch somebody. It was not good. And so I just watched a video last night with Quasi, and I think I even might have watched Podcast. I watch a lot of videos. So do you think that Blizzard will revise this? And people weren't sure. They had their thoughts and their inclinations that they might, but they weren't sure. Like, was this going to be the red line that Blizzard said, no, this is how it is, and we're just experimenting, because they have done that in other expansions where we're going to try this here and maybe we'll change it in the next expansion, such as the Dinars, Bullions, you know, the puzzle, whatever the fuck this new thing is called. Why can't they just call them fucking Dinars? I'm just beside myself.
what the system is. I know that for some people it isn't realistically going to be enough for them. For some people, nothing except for being completely equal with raiders is going to be enough for some people. But I think that this is probably the best thing that Blizzard was realistically going to do here. And honestly, I think that this was I'm actually glad that they walked this back. I actually didn't expect them to do anything, but the fact that they are giving a conduit to Mythic Plus players, whereas a similar analog to what Raiders are getting, where they can actually buy these items off of a vendor with these guaranteed effects, is important. Now, what I will say is I think the very rare items are probably the biggest and most slippery slope that you're seeing here, where the very rares kind of have this weird thing where all 20 people in your raid want this item, whether it be Jaster Diamond, whether it be the class trinkets from Neltharion, whether it be the Vault of the Incarnates trinket, the Whispering Incarnate icon, whatever it might be. There are very rare items each and every single season, the Ansarek ring, that your entire raid guild wants. So all 20 players are needing on it.
So is that one of the things that might be on the vendor? We'll have to see, maybe on PTR. So if I remember correctly, when they had this back in the last season of Dragonflight, there were things there from every season, and you could take them all up to Mythic. Am I right or am I wrong? So let's take, for instance, I was playing a Feral Druid, and I went on a raid, and I got Dinars, and then you go to your vendor. You're immediately able to pick that up out of 1 out of 12, or maybe was it 1 out of 12, or maybe 1 out of 8? But you still had to put in the work to get the crest. You still had to put in the work to get the Valor Stones and yada yada. Really, what this is all about is just trying to help all you Altaholics that want to get your Dinars, but you still need to do the content. Now, one of the things that I believe they're sticking to here is that if you do anything that is from LFR to heroic, as far as boss, and you get Dinars, those are only going to be heroic. Mythic, you have to kill the boss. If you want a Dinar to get Mythic pieces, you have to actually kill that boss to see what their loot table is like, and then you'll be able to pick that up. Is how that's going to work. Now, if you're a Mythic Plus player and you could do plus 12 and above, then you get that at a Mythic level track. So you get that at Myth track. So you'll be able to use all your currency, since it'll be unlocked come May 13th, and you'll be able to build that all up. So keep that in mind. But we're all going to be gods in Season 3. In my opinion, I think that being able to do everything that's Mythic Plus, like you guys hear the meme, and I meme. I'm the oldest 3K player in the world, and but everyone's going to be the best 3K player in the world. So that's why I got to push even higher and higher, which is great because if anything, you guys are going to keep coming back because we always like to see numbers go up. And I enjoy playing with you guys for the most part. And some of you are really good players, and some of you I just my back hurts. But I love the interaction, no matter what.
Or all people are needing on it in general. And as a result, they also have very powerful cantrip effects or secondary proc effects or whatever that some of these other items don't have. And so, of course, they're going to just basically be BIS for everybody because they're designed to be over budget. I think that that's just the intent by design. And whenever you're creating items that are like that, of course, players who feel like they don't have access to those items because they're purely from raid are going to be a little bit annoyed. I think, again, I just don't think that the very rare system is maybe the best way of designing the loot in the game just as a whole, and maybe something that Blizzard's going to be looking to rethink in the future. But just in general, I think that this is probably the best thing that Blizzard could be looking to do. So what's going to end up happening is basically Mythic Plusers. If you need a Sephorium Pacemaker, a Signet of the Priory, any of the other trinkets, Mud, any of the other trinkets that you actually obtain purely from Mythic Plus, you can now purchase those, the tome for tanks as well. You can now purchase those on MythTrack, assuming that you have all 12s done, which in my opinion is a decent analog to Mythic rating in general. Now, I don't think it's perfect, because I think that there are some bosses like One Armed Bandit, Mugsy, or whatever that are much harder than 12s, and I think that there are some bosses like Vexy that are easier than 12s, but I don't think it's, that's not really super important here. I think it's like an okay analog to be looking to be able to be deterministically purchasing items off of a vendor in this way. And I think that giving Mythic Plus players the ability, even if the trinkets are a little bit worse, for melee DPS, I know some of their BIS trinkets are Signet of the Priory and C4 Pacemaker together. Right. I know for ranged DPS, a lot of their BIS trinkets are like House of Cards and Mug Moxie's Choke. So sad. Having these opportunities, though, to be able to purchase trinkets. In some seasons, your best trinket's going to be coming from Mythic Plus. In some seasons, your best trinket's going to be coming from Raid. But the reality of the situation is that having the opportunity to purchase these trinkets is the most important thing here. And I think that that's actually... I think I commend Blizzard for actually walking this back and trying to create a system that works for everybody, because I think that one of the bigger complaints was that very infrequently is there a system that actually doesn't benefit you. So say you're like a pure Mythic Plus player, very infrequently does Blizzard create a system that just doesn't benefit you. It might benefit you less than somebody else, but it's not that it won't benefit you at all. I still stand by what I said in the past video, though, that I think the accessibility of Mythic rating is also partially at fault here,
well, that's what I'm saying. The availability of being able to do Mythic Raid. Did he say Mythic Plus? So if he did say Mythic Plus, I do apologize. But the whole idea for myself is the ability to try and put together a pug for everyone in stream. We've done that, but the ability to do it has been getting harder and harder. Not only that, but you have people that can, oh my God. Now that they're unleashing this upon us, there's going to be the whales out there. There's going to be whales out there that could buy a fucking CE, and when they come into my stream and I'm trying to put together a Mythic group, it's going to be very evident that they have no fucking clue.
I've seen a lot of comments for a bunch of different people that are like, yeah, I work irregular hours and have just a bunch of life going on. And for me, it's really difficult to be able to raid at a level that I would like to, or raid at a level where I could actually get these rewards. And it's not even that I don't have the skill, but I just don't realistically have the time to be able to carve out where I can, jump in and play 5-6 days a week, but only for an hour or two at a time, and be able to do 13s, 14s, and 15 level keys. And so I still think the accessibility of Mythic rating is something that maybe Blizzard's going to be needed to continue to look at in the future, because that stuff is tough. I mean, it's one of the things that I've seen a lot of common sentiments about is like, there are these very skilled players that just aren't willing to Mythic raid because of the time commitments and accessibility and just what it requires to actually be a Mythic raider. And it's not even...
I have no problems. But that is me. So I could give the whole week. I could give the whole week to Mythic rating, because that's how I am. But when it comes to like Greg in accounting, he's got 2 kids and he's got to still take care of things at the house and cut the grass. He's got to make sure that his wife is still getting attention and things like that. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. He could be the best player in the world. He just doesn't have the time.
Even necessarily the difficulty, but it's more the logistical stuff that is part of the problem there. So circling this back to the Dinars, I think that this is probably the best compromise that Blizzard was going to come up with. I don't really think that there's much more that you're going to ask for. In regards to this, I think that it's, again, the Jaster Diamond, the best in slots, some of these very rare items that are off of the bosses in Raid that are higher value. Of course, they're always going to end up being better just because that's how they are. But just getting a system that is at least, there's like a decent compromise here, I think that that's probably the most fair way of going about it from a Blizzard perspective. And something that I do also want to iterate is, sometimes I'll read these comments where they're like, yeah, we're all second class citizens. I want you to know that Blizzard, there is no chance in hell that they actually view Mythic Plusers as second class citizens, and they don't view Mythic Plus as like an in-game pillar. They legitimately do view that as an in-game pillar. Otherwise, they wouldn't have spent so much damn time reworking the system due to feedback and continuing to add things like the 3K IO achievement or changing up the weekly keys and changing the affixes and completely.
Very true. Very true. I mean, I haven't read a lot of those comments where they're treating Mythic Plus players worse than any other player in the game. They just reworked so much of this content that you and I enjoy. So if you guys feel like that, let me know down in the comments. But I don't think that they're making us feel like we're not getting responses from them. I mean, they reworked all the affixes. They just gave 3K players, a mount. I thought there was a title as well, but I was corrected on that. They're giving you more crests. I mean, so no, I don't agree with people that say that. I think those are just haters and don't pay that any mind. Or maybe they were the voice in the very beginning to get all these things to make the changes, but I don't think that's what it is now.
Reworking the affix system. They wouldn't do that if they actually viewed you as second class citizens. It's more just that they view PvE players in the same bucket together, where it's not just, Raiders versus Mythic Plusers, it's Raiders and Mythic Plusers combined. And so they have to try to make a system that works for both combined, where a lot of people want to play one or the other, not necessarily always one and the other, especially.
Well, yeah, because you want to try and make sure that the gear is even for both. So like if I go here, like you guys always like to see me do. You guys have said it down in the comments. You guys like to see me do. So I go to Archon here. So here's Mythic Plus, and I'm on gear and tier set. All right. You could look at this, and then you go over to raid, and it's nearly identical. The only difference would be the House of Cards, which is at a 38.4, and a Signet that is 26. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of difference here. I got the Jaster Diamond. I got the Circlet. I got fucking lucky on this one, by the way. That just came out of Vault. Things like that. The Strap to Rescue Keg. I have that. Okay, never mind. Even here, like one of the things that I did recently, I don't know if I still have it. I might, but I recently simmed myself because I created this cloak, and then I got this cloak. Now this is for raid, but go here to Mythic Plus, and then you go and you look at it. Now electricians slip down, but they're still the same. The highest key that they've used them for is 17 and 17. And then you go over here, if you guys don't know what Simbots is. All right. So I recently wanted to see what it was all about. And it says you are currently equipped with the top gear. But what did I sim? I wanted to sim my cloak and my boots, and shit like that. And if I would have changed out any of my gear, immediately going to the crafted cloak would lose me 5,000, nearly 6,000 DPS. We don't need heroic galley for Dinar. No. You won't need that. So one of the things that I'm saying is, take it all with a grain of salt, but numbers don't lie. Now, one of the things that I will tell you guys in chat that I need to learn. Now, this is simmed for raid. If I want to sim it for Mythic Plus, there is another setting, and stay tuned. I will find out, because right now this is simmed for Patchwork, which is one boss. And there is another way to do it for Mythic Plus, and I have to get with Cheeky maybe on that. Just to give you, like full disclosure, I'm not saying I'm all over it, but I'm somebody that's a little bit more ideally knowing. Just sim at 5 bosses patchwork for 5 minutes instead of one boss? All right, get with me, and let's find that out.
Skill level. And ultimately, I know that it isn't going to always appease everyone, and I know that it's not fair, and the systems aren't equal for both parties involved because, again, the raid gear is still going to be better. I think that there's a larger question as to why does raid gear necessarily need to be better than Mythic Plus gear. I think that that's something that you pretty in good faith could ask yourself. Is like, why does Mythic raid gear just have to be better than Mythic Plus gear? But at the same point, for what we were getting in the system, at least Blizzard listening to feedback and walking back the system, in my opinion, is probably the best thing that we were going to get out of this. And overall, that's it for me today. I just wanted to shout out this announcement that you guys might have missed, talking about Mythic Plus dungeon trinkets being added to the Dinar vendor and needing plus 12s for those. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
Yeah, I truly feel that's good information for sure. I enjoy the information. If you guys don't know, and if you're not privy to it, there's this thing called YouTube, and in my stream, I have knowledgeable people that are here to try and help me sort through the confusion of it all. Really, and it can be confusing. There's so much going on that, trust, it could give you a brain bleed, you know? Like, for instance, Ty here is saying, I do MDT sim. See, I have no fucking clue what the fuck that is. You know what I'm saying? So, I'll put the link down in the comment below for this video if you want to see it and maybe read the notes with them. But, you know, you just do the best you can, everybody. I'm looking forward to the new changes coming in 11.1.7. I'm hoping people that are struggling hitting rotations will be able to do just that and be better in your keys when you come to streams that are trying to help you get your accomplishments done. Whatever disailment you have, you know, because you might be disabled in some kind of way. And it'd be better to have you there than not.